Your palms are sweating. Your heart is pounding. Your breathing has gone shallow. You are reading these words right now, and your body is doing something strange. It is preparing for a threat that does not exist. But the real question is not what you are afraid of. The real question is much stranger. What if fear is not what you think it is at all?
Think about the last time you felt truly afraid. Maybe it was a dark hallway. Maybe it was a sudden loud noise. Maybe it was the moment before a job interview or a first date. Your body reacted before your brain could catch up. That reaction felt immediate and uncontrollable. But where did it actually come from? Was it the situation itself? Was it your thoughts? Or was it something far older, far deeper, and far more ancient than any of those things?
The answer lies about 300 million years in the past. That is when the first creatures with backbones crawled out of the ancient oceans and onto land. They had simple brains. They had simple bodies. But they had one thing in common with you today. They had a system designed to keep them alive. That system was not fear, as you understand it. That system was something much more basic. It was a switch. On or off. Safe or not safe. There was nothing in between.
Fast forward to today. That same switch still lives inside your skull. It is called the amygdala. Two small almond-shaped clusters deep in your brain. They process everything you see and hear and feel for signs of danger. And they do it incredibly fast. Faster than your conscious mind can follow. Faster than you can say the word fear. By the time you know you are scared, your amygdala has already made the decision for you.
In 2013, researchers at the University of California, Los Angeles conducted a fascinating study. They had participants look at images of faces. Some faces were happy, some were neutral, some were angry or frightened. The researchers measured brain activity with functional MRI. They wanted to see how quickly the amygdala responded to each type of face. What they found was startling. The amygdala fired within 200 milliseconds of seeing a threatening face. 200 milliseconds. That is faster than a blink, faster than a heartbeat, faster than your brain can consciously process what you are even looking at.
Your fear response is a speed demon. It bypasses logic entirely. It does not care whether the threat is real or imagined. It does not care whether you are safe in your living room or standing on the edge of a cliff. It only cares about one thing: keeping you alive. And it does this by activating a cascade of hormones. Adrenaline and cortisol flood your bloodstream. Your muscles tense, your senses sharpen, your digestive system shuts down. Every ounce of energy in your body reroutes to your arms and legs. You become a machine built for one purpose: fight or flight.
This system has been refined over hundreds of millions of years of evolution. But here is the counterintuitive part. Fear is not about the thing you are afraid of. Fear is about prediction. Your brain is constantly simulating the future. It is a prediction engine. It takes everything you know and everything you have experienced and projects it forward. It asks a question over and over again. What happens next?
And when the answer is uncertain or dangerous, your brain triggers the fear response, not because of what is happening now, but because of what might happen next. In 2008, a researcher named Alex Kafkas at the University of Helsinki conducted an experiment on this very mechanism. He had participants listen to sounds that were either predictable or unpredictable. Some sounds came at regular intervals. Others were random. What he discovered was that the unpredictable sounds caused a much stronger fear response, even when the sounds themselves were perfectly harmless. Your brain fears uncertainty more than it fears actual pain. The unknown is scarier than the known, even when the known is dangerous.
Think about that for a moment. Your brain would rather face a known danger than an unknown possibility. That is why you fear the dark, not because there is something there, but because you do not know what might be there. That is why you fear public speaking, not because the audience will hurt you, but because you do not know what their reaction will be. The fear is not about the situation itself. The fear is about the gap between what you know and what you do not know.
This idea was first articulated by the psychologist Thomas Hobbes over 300 years ago. Hobbes wrote that fear is not just a response to danger. It is a response to the anticipation of danger. He called it a passion that arises from the imagination of future evil. Modern neuroscience has proven him right. Your amygdala does not wait for danger to arrive. It simulates danger before it exists. It creates a model of the future and then reacts to that model as if it were real. Now, here is where things get truly strange. The fear response is so powerful and so ancient that it can be triggered by things that have absolutely nothing to do with survival. The psychologist Paul Ekman identified 6 basic human emotions that are universal across every culture on Earth: anger, disgust, happiness, sadness, surprise, and fear. He mapped the facial expressions for each of them and found that people everywhere make the exact same face when they are afraid. Eyebrows raised, eyes wide, mouth open. This expression is not learned. It is hardwired. It is the same expression a hunter-gatherer made 50,000 years ago when a predator stalked him in the tall grass. But here is the twist. Ekman also discovered that people can experience genuine fear from completely abstract things. The stock market dropping, a breakup, a bad grade. None of these things threaten your physical safety. None of them require a fight or flight response. But your amygdala does not know the difference. It treats a social rejection the same way it treats a tiger. It treats a financial loss the same way it treats a fall from a height. The neural pathways are identical. Your body does not distinguish between physical and psychological threats. It just responds. This explains why modern life is so anxiety-provoking. You live in a world that is safer than any time in human history. You have medicine. You have shelter. You have food security. You have technology that protects you from nearly every natural danger. But your brain is still living in the Pleistocene. It is still scanning for predators that no longer exist. It is still reacting to rustling grass as if a lion might be hiding there. And it is using the same ancient system to react to emails and traffic jams and awkward social interactions. In 2017, a team at the University of Pittsburgh published a study on this exact disconnect. They scanned the brains of participants while they experienced both physical pain and social rejection. They used thermal probes on the skin for physical pain, and they used a virtual ball tossing game for social rejection. The results were remarkable. Both experiences activated the same neural circuits. Both produced the same stress hormone response. Both caused the same feeling of discomfort. Your brain cannot tell the difference between a broken bone and a broken heart. Both hurt. Both trigger fear. Both are processed in the same ancient system.
This has profound implications for how you understand yourself. When you feel fear, it is not a sign of weakness. It is not a flaw in your personality. It is not something you should fight against or suppress. It is a message from your ancestors. It is a warning system that has kept your lineage alive for 300 million years. It is one of the most successful and sophisticated survival mechanisms ever created. But it is also a system that is easily fooled. It reacts to movies and video games and scary stories. It reacts to imaginary threats in your own mind. It reacts to words on a page, even to these words right now.
This is the strange truth about fear. It is not about the external world. It is about your internal model of the external world. It is about prediction and uncertainty and the stories you tell yourself about the future. You are not afraid of the dark. You are afraid of what you imagine might be in the dark. You are not afraid of failure. You are afraid of what you imagine failure will mean about you. You are not afraid of the unknown. You are afraid of the stories you build around the unknown.
In 2014, the neuroscientist Dean Mobbs at Cambridge University tested this idea with a clever experiment. He had participants play a video game where they were chased by a predator. But he manipulated the game so that the predator sometimes followed predictable patterns and sometimes moved randomly. He then measured their brain activity. What he found was that the unpredictability caused a much stronger fear response than the actual threat of being caught. The brain feared not knowing the predator's path more than it feared the predator itself.
The implications are staggering. If fear is about prediction and uncertainty, then the solution to fear is not courage. The solution to fear is information. When you know what will happen next, your amygdala calms down. When you have a plan, your fear decreases. When you understand the situation, the threat dissolves. This is why naming your fear makes it less powerful. This is why talking about anxiety reduces its grip. This is why knowledge is the most effective antidote to fear. Not bravery, not toughness, just information.
This also explains why humans are so drawn to stories. Stories are prediction machines. They give you a sense of control over uncertainty. They simulate possible futures so you do not have to live them. Your brain is constantly telling you stories about who you are, about what others think of you, about what will happen next. And when those stories become frightening, your body responds with fear, even if the story is completely made up, even if the threat is purely imaginary. Your body does not know the difference. So, what does this mean for you? It means that the next time you feel that familiar chill of fear, you can pause. You can recognize it for what it is: an ancient alarm, a prediction, a story about the future that may or may not come true. You can ask yourself one simple question. what is the actual threat right now? Not in 10 minutes, not in 10 years. Right now, in this present moment. Is your life in danger? Are you being attacked? Is there a predator in the room? Or is your brain doing what it has done for hundreds of millions of years? Running a simulation. Preparing for a threat that does not exist. Protecting you from a ghost.
And that, right there, is the real answer to the question. The strange thing is not that fear exists. The strange thing is that you exist at all. You are the descendant of creatures that survived against impossible odds. You carry their legacy in your every cell. You inherited their vigilance, their caution, their ability to fear. And that fear, that ancient, beautiful, complicated response is not your enemy. It is your guardian. It is your inheritance. It is the voice of every ancestor who made it through the night, through the cold, through the darkness, so that you could be here right now, reading these words, safe, alive, and afraid of nothing at all.